Gauteng Traffic Police spokesperson Sello Maremane joins us now for more on this conversation. Spokesperson, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this evening. Perhaps maybe if you could give us a roundup with regards to whether or not you reached that target or the objectives that you had, particularly today with that blitz in Tshwane.
Good evening to you as well as to the viewers. Yes, of course, that number had since risen. We have managed to impound about 53 buses in our province and issued 160 citations ranging from worn-out tires, minibuses not having fire extinguishers, and cracked windscreen. Let me just say general defects which were found on the vehicles, but that number had since risen because we have rolled out this enforcement operation throughout our province. It was happening in Atteridgeville, Manseville, and Kempton Park and other areas of our province as well, but that number had since risen.
Dr. Maremane, I think the concern with many citizens is why this is only happening now. And correct us if we're wrong with regards to this blitz and the operations that we are seeing that will be carried out across all the corridors in the province. Should these operations not be taking place continuously? Is there no standard operating procedure that would see compliance checks being done on a regular basis?
That's correct. Let me say that we are not only doing these operations now, we have got a 365 days plan throughout the year to enforce the law. We were just specifically concentrating on the learner transport operators because we know for a fact that as and when schools open, people tend to take their chances. For an example, you'll find people having light delivery vehicles, such commonly known as your vans, being utilized to transport our learners. And we realized that during this time of the year, your January specifically, you'll have a lot of people going to various schools to try and woo learners to transport them. But in the meantime, these people are not compliant, of course, because there are legal requirements that one has got to, to abide to before you start to load our children. And that's why we intensify this operation in January. But the fact remains that our traffic officers are on the ground on a daily basis to enforce all the traffic regulations. It is not just happening in January. It's a 365 days plan that we have. However, it is being intensified in January because we know that some of our people are taking their chances. Unfortunately, it happened at the time when we had a calamity in Vereeniging area. And those are the type of things that we abhor as law enforcement, and we try very much to ensure that our learners, or let me just say the public at large, are transported safely. So.
And are these the numbers that you constantly get when you do these operations during this time of the year? Because it seems as though these are quite large numbers. I mean, 53 buses, 160 citations for people not having the right tires. Is this what you continuously are confronted with regards to non-compliance, especially by those that are transporting children?
Yeah, that's correct. During this time of the year, like I've just mentioned, you get people who are really taking their chances. But I must say that we are trying to dig much deeper into these issues. Let me give you a practical example. In Atteridgeville, this morning, we have realized that many of our learner transport operators have decided to park their vehicles. Even parents were complaining to say their children didn't go to school. It raised question to us as a law enforcement agency to say, why will we have such a number of learners not attending school today? So it means that, in essence, the learner transport operators know that their vehicles are not compliant. And I must indicate to you that come next week, we are rolling out a compulsory vehicle testing of all our public transport vehicles. But we will start with those that are contracted to the Department of Education. You will see that we will be subjecting them to different vehicle testing stations just to assess their roadworthiness status as well. But we are appealing to everyone else, including the parents. It should raise a question as a parent to say, why didn't my child attend school today? So it means that some of these parents are aware that the vehicles that are ferrying their learners are not roadworthy. And we are appealing to our parents as well to say, they must refuse to let their children in those vehicles. But we will be on the ground. Like I've just mentioned, that we've got a 365 days plan to ensure that these vehicles are roadworthy. Because remember, majority of our road crashes are really caused by factors such as, human factors. Unsafe overtaking is just but one. Overspeeding, overloading of passengers as well. I mean, we've picked up a bus which was supposed to be ferrying 65 passengers. Unfortunately, we had 100 passengers on that bus. So it's a human issue, it's a human element, and we've got to clamp against it.
And certainly, spokesperson, especially when you speak about the responsibility and accountability of us as passengers, as parents, when children are loaded on some of these transport and vehicles that are either overloaded or not compliant. There are some concerns that were raised by operators with regards to delays in obtaining licenses. What steps are being taken to streamline the licensing process and addressing some of the obstacles that you've addressed?
Well, some of the operators are not getting their operating license simply because of they might have had, criminal offenses against their name, or non-compliant. For an example, remember, an operating license, when it is issued, we've got to make sure that the vehicle which will be utilized for that purpose is indeed roadworthy. We would find that the authorities, for an example, had been asked, or the person has been asked to bring their vehicle for roadworthiness tests, and they do not bring it. Things such as your tax clearance, you find that their tax affairs are not in order. You find that this person does not have a professional driving permit. So any of these things that I've just mentioned, if it is not intact, if it is not, complied with, obviously an operating license will not be issued. But I'm appealing to all learner transport operators who have applied to go and check whether their operating licenses have been issued or not, or what might cause the delay. Because some of our people, remember, you apply and then get a receipt, and that receipt simply says to you, you are not allowed to convey learners while you are having this receipt, because it may just get rejected based on these reasons that I've just mentioned. So it is important for them to go and do follow-up as well.
The department has listed quite comprehensive documentation requirements, especially when it comes for licensing. How will the police verify the authenticity and the compliance of documents, especially in a space where you mentioned that there are chance takers and it seems as though there are a lot of illegal operators?
Well, we are utilizing face value documents in terms of your National Road Traffic Act. So these are documents which are already legislated, and they are registered on our NATI system. So it wouldn't be easy, although some of our operators are taking chances. You'll find that they actually try and duplicate the permit, they duplicate our driver's license. Fortunately enough, we are able to liaise with our e-NATIS operators to really verify the authenticity of the document which is tendered before the officers. So in this one, again, we are appealing to our learner transport operators. It constitutes fraud for anyone to produce a document which is not the legal document, because we are able to detect that daily as and when we continue with our enforcement operations.
All right, spokesperson, thank you so much for your time and joining us this evening. We certainly do hope that some of these efforts are actually going to yield results in ensuring that not only the scholars that are on the road are safe, but all the road users in their entirety. Thank you so much for joining us. That was the Gauteng Traffic Police spokesperson, Sello Maremane.